lads. We're on.
To B.
Bomb has been defused. Counter-terrorists win. Move it, son. Grenade out. Incendiary. Flashbang. Smoke. Deploying flashbang.
Underpass.
Counter-terrorists win. Go, go, go.
One pulse.
Roger that.
Mid clear. One underpass. Minus 40.
Flashbang. Counter-terrorists win. Good stuff.
Upper mid.
Throwing flashbang. Flashbang.
Underpass 1.
Upper.
Throwing flashbang. Deploying flashbang.
No time. 10 seconds. Pick up.
We are out of here. Throwing smoke. Smoke. Throwing a grenade. Grenade.
It's A. One palace.
Contact. Roger that.
One ramp. Upper palace. Minus 81 upper.
Terrorists win. Bomb has been planted. Come on, chop. Smoke. Throwing flashbang.
Bomb drop.
Roger that. Flashbang.
Upper mid.
Roger.
Fucking hacker. Come B.
Deploying flashbang.
Sure. No time.
Counter-terrorists win.
Safe.
Roger that. Laying down smoke.
One pallet.
Palace, palace.
Upper.
Go B.
Counter-terrorists win. Remember, this is bandit country. Shoot everything that moves. Smoke! Throwing fire. Grenade out. Deploying flashbang.
Safe.
Bomb has been planted.
You're right.
Terrorists win. Roger that.
Do you want to rush A?
Move it. Move it. Throwing smoke.
ME1.
Roger. Smoke.
I hear scoping.
What the fuck? ME Opa.
One B.
Bomb has been planted. Throwing a grenade. Terrorists Throwing smoke.
I hear B.
Come B. Hub. Bench.
Wall.
Sure, Opa. Stay. Don't come front.
He's B.
Green, go help.
No. Green.
Die.
No tie.
We're on. Deploying decoy. Laying down smoke.
Hide me one.
Grenade out. Grenade. Throwing flashbang.
Me too. Rush, please.
Roger that. Move it, son. Decoys out. Roger that. Eyes on enemy. Affirmative.
Let me Oper.
One more connector.
One A. Is B.
Parking. Parking. Hey guys. Nice one.
Or bench. Someone check me.
Throwing smoke.
I don't.
Throwing flashbang. Throwing smoke. Grenade out.
Go.
Roger that. Flashbang. Enemy spotted.
A.
Deploying flashbang.
Why did you camp?
Come on, chop chop. Decoys out. Laying down smoke. Flashbang. Deploying decoy.
Alright.
Upper high mid.
Walk. Big walk.
B or these two? Parman, that is two. Parman.
Targets acquired.
Care A. Short.
Terrorists win.
Go B.
Rush.
Throwing a decoy.
Don't stop. Minus 40. One stairs, one triple box. Jungle City.
City.
Sandwich one.
Jungle.
Hide.
Last one stairs.
Hi.
Bomb has been defused. Counter-terrorists win. Forward.
I'll smoke city.
Smoke. Flashback. I'm throwing smoke. Throwing fire. Smoke.
Sure.
Terrorists win.
I'll go mid. I'll smoke window.
Let's go. Smoke.
Under palace, tag 48. Oh,
One window OP.
Terrorists win.
Rush B.
We will make them cry. Decoy. I'm throwing a flashback. Planting the bomb. Bomb has been planted. Molotov.
Ay, Molotov. Move.
Hide. Don't go again.
Apartment.
Okay. Market last.
We are going to do this. Terrorists win.
Get out. Thank you.
Thank you.
A.
Agreed.
Mid or up to you.
Flashback. I'm throwing smoke. Smoke.
There might be upper jungle.
Hide.
Hide, just hide.
Side.
Jungle.
Report.
Bomb has been defused. Counter-terrorists win.
Rush B.
Take care of yourself. Throwing a flash.
Upper. Van.
I'm throwing a flashbang.
One back.
Counter-terrorists win.
Do you know how to smoke A?
I'll smoke jungle.
It's almost there.
Wait for clock to reach 130 maybe, I don't know. Don't rush.
Soaking jungle.
Smoke! Smoke! I'm throwing smoke. Counter-terrorists win. Let's go, my brothers. I'm throwing a flashbang. We shall rule the day. I am planting the bomb. Bomb has been planted.
Jungle. Going quick.
Throwing a flashback.
Slow. Get out.
Get ready. It is going to explode.
And I'm gonna drop. Here.
Let's go. Victory awaits. Flashback. Smoke. Grenade. I am planting the bomb. Bomb has been planted. Terrorists win.
Get out.
B.
That is the plan.
Hey, yellow house.
Let's go. Smoke. I'm throwing flashback. Throwing fire. Flashback. I'm throwing smoke. Molotov.
Supermarket.
Throwing a flashback. Smoke. Terrorists win. So that we may be free. Throwing a flashback. Smoke. I'm throwing smoke. Flashback.
里有说代价？张丹呢？不是你手动脚的吗？中华电信啊！哎，猪仔。给中华电信啊！是猪仔。谁知道？谁知道？谁知道呢？谁投？你看台湾之星有没有被缴掉？应该是没有。就想看一个 email 就来鱼目混珠。嗯，鱼目混珠，猪。嗯，谁投？嗯，怎么了？讲成语错了吗？鱼目混珠，混珠，混珠，混珠，混珠，混珠。干嘛？混珠的猪不说话啦？使用暴力跟你讲。
He has been the star player at this particular tournament, but you can see most of the time it's Nico, Guardian, and Rain that are in the spotlight.
Well, Sean, we've talked about FaZe. They have to go up against Mousesports. Many people call them a budget FaZe. I think that's hugely dismissive with the talent they have on the roster.
Yeah, they're definitely not a budget FaZe. And I think a lot of it is, you have to give credit to LMBT, the coach of Mousesports, because ever since he's joined Mousesports, they have looked so good across so many different maps. Now that they've added Nuke to their pool, I think they're a legitimate threat to win tournaments.
已经过期了3天了。
I can't remember what the last time I said that.
Yeah, I think, you know, I agree that you need to give a lot of credit
这有
to the
脚
coach
料。
because Christian isn't a natural in-game leader. He had to become that basically once Nico left the team, and Nico wasn't a natural in-game leader to begin with. So the fact that they look so polished on their T sides, that they, you know, you always see that they have a clear game plan and they're very good at executing it. I think Chris J said himself, players helped him a lot, gave him a lot of info, also make good calls mid-round themselves, and I think that's what propelled Mousesports into being a tier 1 team and actually being a contender at some of these tournaments.
And I'm glad you brought up Chris J. He was a little bit shaky towards the end of that Mousesports run. Even said so himself. We did an interview with him, and he thanked his teammates for carrying him. He said the streak was in the back of his mind. You know, what's going to happen again? They had a tough run, as you can see, but going to be feeling a lot more relaxed now, a lot more relieved.
I think that game versus QB Fire brought flashbacks to many of the Mousesports fans
PTSD,
watching the games
yeah.
when Nico was on the team, you know, and things falling apart, and it was a vintage Mousesports in that sense. But what was impressive is the manner in which they were able to come back for the deciding game of the tournament against Space Soldier, which was a very back and forth game. There were many rounds where you would think, okay, this is Mousesports falling apart again, but they managed to pick it up, you know, compose themselves, and really deliver when it mattered the most.
When we highlighted Guardian and said how well he's been doing for FaZe, there's a player who's been doing incredibly well this tournament. It's Oscar for Mousesports. Chris J did an interview, Sean, where he said, I don't think there's anyone on FaZe that's as good as Oscar right now. What do you make of that?
Yeah, he's absolutely right. Oscar, in the opening stages of the round, is phenomenal. He's constantly finding openings for Mousesports, and then somehow he's alive in the late stages of the round, too. He's playing 2v2s, 2v3s, 1v3. He's playing all these scenarios perfectly. His game sense is on another level in the later stages of the round.
Yeah, it's so vitally important to Mousesports, and you can see they're leading the whole tournament in total kills. Definitely a player to watch. But now it's time to hear from the most expensive Counter-Strike player in the world. Earlier today, we spoke to Nico in the Cheez It Grooves Lounge.
Hey Nico, it's great to see you here in the Agganis Arena. We've reached the major playoffs here, and it's the first major playoffs of your career as well. So was the significance of that on your mind when you finally made it last week?
No, I didn't really I think I'm gonna get to that point actually when I started playing against the Mousesports, then I'm gonna feel like the major crowd. But until now, I didn't feel like I didn't feel like it's like there's a big difference between major crowd right now and just normal events. So I'm gonna see the difference, I guess, when I start playing.
Well, you just mentioned Mousesports yourself. They're also a team that's made major playoffs for the first time of their career. So looking back at Mousesports, I mean, it's your former team. Were you impressed by what you saw through the qualifier and the new Legend stage?
I've been impressed like at the start of the major and the qualifier because like they've been playing really well. Then they started like dropping down their level. They started losing against some lower teams, I would say. But yeah, overall, I'm really impressed how especially Oscar played throughout the major and major qualifier. So yeah.
And the last time you played against Mousesports was at the ECS finals in Cancun. Back then it was really, really close. You guys won 2-1, but even the wins that you had were both in overtime. So do you think we'll see a similarly close match this time, or do you think FaZe just stands ahead?
I really hope we will not see the same match as in ECS, and we're going to do our best to destroy them because we saw last night like an interview from Chris J where he said like that Oscar is better than any of our players on the team and that we should be better prepared than in ECS. So we're going to do our best to destroy them this time.
I love the banter. Thank you so much, Nico, and good luck today.
So there you go. Those Chris J comments might be the red rag to the bull. Adds a little bit of spice to it. But Janko, we've watched Nico blossom into this amazing player. It's been an incredible journey, one that means more to you than a lot of people because obviously you used to play with him when he was just a kid.
Absolutely, and I think, at least to me, even then, you could tell the superstar potential that he had. He's just such a great all-around player. You can't really find a weakness to him. The one weakness that he potentially has is overextending at times because he really wants to help his team as much as possible. Great with pistols, great with rifles, great at clutching, great with the op. I mean, I could just go on and on.
Well, we haven't got time for that. It is now time for Map Tactics, presented by the US Air Force. The highest level of Counter-Strike. We'll see the highest level of tactics. What have you got for us, Janko?
Yeah, this is actually from the FaZe versus SK Gaming Cash game that we had earlier. And it's to show how FaZe, even though they have the individuals, they also have the tactics behind it. This is something that you can't maybe notice at first. It's a bit more elaborate. You can see that they're doing a fast fake with Karrigan throwing nades over the top towards CT. He's faking with the flashes. The rest of the team is grouped up towards B. So he really just wants to draw some attention away from the defenders. SK still has two guys in the side. That's a meaty nade from Taco, but it does seem he gets caught off guard a little bit by that pop flash. And what's important, Nico is flashed, but he keeps pushing. He realizes he needs to create space for the team. They get that entry kill. Cold is still behind the box in the Kiyoshima position with the op, and he gets the kill on Wolfmeister, stays alive, but this is where also the star power comes in, right? We pointed out Guardian. This is where you can see what he's capable of. Gets the kill on Cold, then also realizes the sound that the players are trying to save, goes for a shot through the wall and gets the wall bang as well and secures the round. So these are type of like little nuanced, detailed plays with a very fast fake, because these teams are so good. They understand the game on such a high level that you really need to find the most smallest of details to gain a slight edge.
Yeah, and FaZe Clan definitely capable of doing that, and we're going to find out very soon if we're going to see Cash played, because we're about to get into the map vetoes. So there you have it. Sean, I'm going to bring you in for this one. You've already talked a lot about the tendencies of FaZe Clan. The vetoes are about to come. What do you expect to see here?
Well, I expect Mousesports to definitely pick Nuke. FaZe is kind of forced to ban Cobble. If they don't ban Cobble, Mousesports is going to pick it, and FaZe is in a pretty bad spot at that stage. So I think, honestly, even though Mousesports is 7-0 in their last 7 Nuke games on LAN, they're going to struggle against FaZe right now because FaZe has a lot of prep time for this match. And Mousesports likely didn't change much since ECS because they're so strong on the map.
Yeah,
FaZe has played Nuke at that game, you know, versus Mousesports, but not much besides that. So they definitely have put a lot of work. It's going to be a huge question mark coming into this whole tournament. How good is Nuke for FaZe? So I agree with Sean. I think that's a given for Mousesports to pick that map. Even though FaZe can expect it, you really like that's your strongest pick. And something that's very important to note is FaZe gets to pick the side. So your opening big stage game for these guys who are 5 rookies in the playoffs at the major is playing T side on you. So that's going to put a lot of, of LMBT and Chris J. It's going to put it to a big test versus the individuals of FaZe. And FaZe actually throw a curveball to an extent. They don't go for Inferno, which is what they went for the last time around. They go for Cash, which I love, because the only time Mousesports played it in the last 3 months was versus Astralis, and that was a pocket pick. Usually they ban it. So I think that's a great pick from FaZe. We see the Mirage ban, another great decision from FaZe because that's a very strong map for Mousesports, and that way they go on to Train, which is the second map alongside Cash, where FaZe has put in a lot of work, and they again get to start on the CT side. So I think this map veto was very well executed by FaZe. I think it gives them an even bigger advantage if they needed one coming into this one.
What's your assessment, Sean, and give me a prediction?
I mean, Mousesports right now starting T-side nuke. Like Kenko said, these are 5 players that aren't used to this stage. Just Monka S in chat right now. It's just literally, they are sweating bullets. If they go down 4-0, it might be a quick quarterfinals.
Yeah. So who are you going to predict to win?
I got FaZe.
Yeah? Yanko?
I think that, you know, Mousesports, this is not Cancun, it's not Mykonos, it's a cold, cold day in Boston. It's not their atmosphere. I think FaZe is going to convincingly take this one 2-0.
Well, just a reminder at home, you can watch this with an enhanced viewing experience. The Game Command, it puts you in a director's chair, so you can see what your favorite players are seeing. Pick the angles, see it all, and take control of how you watch E-League. Go to live.e. We're now going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to get the major on the road with
was just thinking about someone I used to know. My cousin, the Queen, in fact. A tyrant. I tried to stop her, but things don't always go according to plan. She cast me out to a forgotten island, and made short work of my allies, too. Lucky for me, I was able to commandeer a ship, and began a new life for myself, out on the high seas. Aye, but I hear that the Queen is at it again, and there's something darker behind her madcap schemes this time. If I don't stop her, I don't know who will.
Once I was a crusader for the Divine Order. I pledged my life to Lucian the Divine. The war changed everything. He sent me to save the elves I grew up amongst. I arrived too late. Lucian ordered the use of Death Fog against the Black Ring, annihilating everyone I once knew in the process. Now I'm a mercenary killer, one of the infamous Lone Wolves. And my next target is none other than Lucian's own son.
All my life, I've been a performer, a musician, beloved and celebrated by all. But I have a secret. I'm also a playground for sprites and spirits and worse. The voice that rings inside me now is darker than any that came before. Almost caused a bunch of my fans to rip each other to pieces. But you can trust me. I've got this under control. Step 1, find out who or what is trying to take control of my mind. Step 2, make it sorry it ever tried.
Like, players that aren't used to high pressure scenarios will get nervous before a match, right? But then when the match gets delayed, all the butterflies leave, they calm down. By the time the match starts, their breathing pattern is normal, they're taking deeper breaths. Something actually I do before every game, and this dates back to the first majors, I'll tell my team, you know, I'll take them through like deep breaths, like breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4. And people think it's a joke, but I actually make sure everyone's breathing correctly before a match starts.
You really do try everything, Sean.
I do. So you know, it didn't work, but you know, I got here somehow. I got in this arena.
So I mean, in the old Cloud9 teams, who couldn't cope with these sort of situations, the delays, you know, the stress?
Jordan would break down and cry. No, I'm just kidding. No, Jordan was the TO's worst nightmare. Jordan would be back there plugging stuff in, trying to fix everything.
Yeah, he's a bit hyper, right?
We were all pretty good about it.
Yes.
Yeah, what about you? Same question.
Oh, no, I think for us, you know, Eastern Europeans, Richard, we're not known for our patience, and we just want to get things going. So I think that's where you get different personalities, right? Different cultures. I think Scandinavians, for example, they're much more mellow, laid back. This delay, as it matters for them, could last like 5 more hours. They wouldn't care less, you know, just give them a bit of sustenance, and that's fine. But that's why I say I think it depends on each and every player, right? On your character. The guys who are more like nervous, more everything, they just want to get things going, while some guys, they don't really, it doesn't matter to them.
Yeah, and do you go over like tactics? Does the playbook come out? Because obviously you have your game plan, you go over it finally, you sit down, delay, and then people might start forgetting things. You're laughing, you're joking, you might forget what you have to do. Is it important to remind everybody, you know, get the playbook out again and go over it?
Yeah, there's definitely a weird scenario though with that, because a lot of people want to feel warmed up, so they don't want to sit there talking and then have it just hop in a match. So you have like different players that you have to deal with in different ways in these kind of scenarios.
I think it also depends on how long is the break, right? If it's, you know, 10, 15 minutes, then it's fine. No one is going to forget. But if it's a bit of an extended break, then when you get, okay, guys, we're ready, we're going to start in 5 minutes, that's when you maybe go over the pistol round, the first gun round, just remind like the players of what you talked about before, because you'll be surprised, Richard, how quickly some players can forget what you've told them.
No, I was
right
going to bring that up. I mean, a lot of players so singularly minded on like individual levels of performance or aim. I can imagine that while you're, you know, still working on that and still trying to get warmed up, what you have to do in that vital pistol round, you know how important pistol rounds are. You know, maybe it does go a little bit awry. Maybe your mind does wander. You know, I mean, it's a little bit like, you know, a quarterback kind of reading out, you know, from a playbook. This is the route you have to run. And then it's like you totally forget. You're not going to be there.
Yeah, exactly. I think, you know, it's also, after a first couple of rounds, that's where you really get into the swing of things. The problem is, on a map like Nuke, for example, like so Mousesports, they have to start on the T side, and you know, they're a bit slower, or they forget something crucial in one of those first rounds, where it's the pistol round or the first gun round. Well, suddenly you might find yourself 4 or 5-0 down against FaZe, and as Sean pointed out, you definitely don't want to be in that situation. So it's always a weird scenario when it happens. It's very difficult because it's the same for both teams. You can't say, oh, if there was no delay, maybe Mousesports would have started off better, or the same for FaZe. It's just something that, as a professional player, you need to be able to deal with it, so to speak, to cope with it, and just play along.
All right. Well, go on, Sean.
Oh, yeah. So something that I want to point out, too, but which is good for Mousesports, is that they're starting T-side. And I know that seems a little bit weird to say. They're starting T-side Nuke. But something that I learned a long time ago from greats like Forrest and Gertright is they like starting T-side for the first match of the day, because no one's really warmed up. You're trying to get into the game. And the game is much more forgiving when you're T-side. You get one-shot headshots with an AK. You can swarm in numbers and really put pressure on people that aren't warmed up yet and trade those kills and get in bomb sites that you probably wouldn't have been able to later on in the day. So starting T-side Nuke might actually play to Mousesports' benefit here.
It's one of those double-edged swords. Whenever you have the discussion, right, on the T side, no matter which map, even Nuke that's heavily CT-sided, you're the one that dictates the pace of the game. You know, you go to the CT. So in that sense, if you're on the weaker side and you get off to a good start, you just need to win pistol, convert, win the first gun round. You're 5-0 up. That's like all you need at times on the T side of Nuke. And obviously, when you're that much up, then you have a greater chance of adding more rounds on the board. So obviously, it can severely backfire if they are actually warmed up enough to deny you those first couple of rounds, and then you find yourself with like 1 or 2 rounds on the T side. So it is a CT-sided map, but not a 13-2, pretty much.
Well, hopefully they're not going to be warming up for too much longer. But just while we wait to get into the game, we're going to bring you the history of Counter-Strike.
Good morning, and welcome to the Black Mesa Transit System.
Half-Life comes out, it changes the PC gaming world. It's the most amazing game ever made for its time. And 2 college kids took Half-Life and made this game called Counter-Strike. It's a free modification that you just download.
At the time, I was really interested in counter-terrorist forces. That level of sophistication in terms of the weaponry, in terms of the tactics, I thought that would make a great theme for a game.
Early on, we had to beg people to help us out. Even just to get playtesters, we had to beg people, hey, do you want to come play our mod? And a lot of people would be like, no thanks, not interested. So we just kind of put it out there thinking, you know, a couple hundred people might think it was cool.
I guess it wasn't until maybe 6 months after we released the very first version that we saw that this game had a potential to become something really bigger than we expected it to.
The fact that it was this cool new shooter that was multiplayer, I think that's what really interested me in the game.
It was not about shooting people to me, it was about strategy and outsmarting your opponents.
Counter-Strike was different than anything else. You had to buy your weapons. Only a couple bullets killed you. You went and did something risky early or something stupid, you were stuck watching for the full 5 minutes.
This wasn't a game for the faint of heart. This wasn't a game for people who wanted to respawn as soon as they died. Your actions in Counter-Strike matter. Early on when we were developing, the community feedback would basically color our next beta release. There was so much energy at that time and so many fans who really felt like they were part of the development.
People were just submitting so much content. We were getting maps, I don't know, maybe 100 a week.
As we released a couple of betas, we had been talking to Valve that whole time because they had noticed the player numbers for Counter-Strike were pretty high.
Counter-Strike came out and immediately was at 8,000 simultaneous peak players. A week later, it was at 12,000. A month later, it was at 16. And we saw that there was something happening here. And so we immediately said, you know, we've got to find a way to work with these guys.
It was really cool to be talking to Valve at that time because we kind of idolized these guys. We loved Half-Life. We were fans of Valve.
Valve came on board around Beta 5. When they came on, that was the point where it really just took off.
Counter-Strike started out as the side event at the CPL tournament while Quake was the big game. In 2001, Counter-Strike took over the venue.
The key for Counter-Strike in me is very early on it became like kind of a global game, you know. It was one of the first esport that wasn't just like a few countries are really into it or just one region's into it. It's like nearly the whole world to some degree was interested in Counter-Strike. So it was only actually changes within the community that changed how the game was played and how you conceive of what is Counter-Strike, which is this 5v5 defusal game that eventually later had a lower round timer, only uses these certain maps. Like when we first had the first tournaments, no one knew what the good maps were, so we used to play almost all the maps.
Like even into 1.6, Valve always understood the community were a big part of Counter-Strike, and that was really the one thing that they never really changed.
So when Counter-Strike first became a Valve property, one of the immediate tasks was to figure out what was going on with updates.
Having Steam to automatically do your updates for you is almost life-changing at this point.
Whereas actually back then, when the patch comes out, that's depressing because now I know I'm not going to be playing for 2 days because not only do I have to download it, which will take me many hours, but the download speed's going to go a lot slower because there was no Steam. So as a result, everyone in the world is now trying to download that one patch from that one server.
You know, that was really the genesis of the idea for Steam, was to figure out how could we automatically update all these folks.
Source blows my mind that people have almost kind of omitted it from Counter-Strike history. It did have some issues at launch, I don't think there's any doubt about that, which did turn a lot of the people off because obviously if you've got an existing game that's been out for years and it's great and everything works perfectly fine because it's been tweaked, and then you've got something new and it doesn't quite work, obviously you're going to stick to the one that you know and stick to the one that you feel is complete. I thought the game was great. I had lots of fun. I met like really cool people who I'm still friends with to this day through playing Source.
CSGO felt like the last hope for Counter-Strike in many ways. And what was a very pleasant surprise was actually within 6 to 12 months of the initial release, the game was improving very quickly in fact, much quicker than normally you would expect.
The difference with CSGO was that they introduced matchmaking.
Prior to matchmaking, you would join a server and you didn't know the skill level of the players that were on the server. Compared to today's where they automatically find the best match for you, and it's very automated, and I think in that sense it made it very user-friendly.
The skins update was a big change for the community, giving you something you can buy, something that you can customize your guns.
It's done where it doesn't necessarily impact gameplay, but it gives people this exciting element to keep coming back and keep playing to get more skins.
In CSGO, you have the ability for the community members to support the game with all of their content.
I think the workshop has over 150,000 items in it, and people will aspire to have those items or better designs or things like that, or have their own designs in the game, where people can design maps, and the ones that are the most popular get put in the game itself.
I just decided it's something I wanted to do. To be able to create something that the community was able to play and they do enjoy, that's awesome. Sometimes I go to events and people tell me Cache is their favorite map, and I would have never imagined that would have happened.
One of the biggest things about Counter-Strike is just how it's always been evolving, but yet the fundamentals of it haven't really changed at all. And it's the community involvement that I think has been so big to the growth of it over time.
That sort of immediate feedback loop, which was so important early on and guided every single beta release, is still happening today with our Steam releases, where we're updating even more frequently than we did back then.
The core that Counter-Strike has, that almost no other esports game I'm aware of has actually, is that on the most simple level, people intuitively understand the concept of a person versus a person with a weapon, but the more you bring to the table, the more you take away with Counter-Strike.
The kind of game where you're always on a quest to be better, best in your region, or the best in your continent, or the best in the world. This game has a history which spans people's lives. There are many steps to the ladder, and the ladder has no end.
I think the reason Counter-Strike is one of the greatest games of all time is there is always something new to learn. Like a new smoke, a new flashbang, a new boost where you can see a part of the map people didn't think you could before.
There's so many different and valid ways to approach the game. Sometimes you see teams from China versus teams from Sweden versus teams from the US, and they all have these different approaches to the game.
And now we're in a position where we're getting million-dollar tournaments, interactivity, in-game items.
With each version of the game, through each generation of gamers, Counter-Strike has just continued to grow.
I don't think it's going to go anywhere other than bigger and better.
famed, of course, for my unique red skin and unparalleled skills as a general of the House of War, I, the Red Prince, was raised within the vast palaces of the fabled Forbidden City. I was destined to become the next emperor. But my ambitions suffered a bit of a setback when I fell from grace for cavorting with demons. Now, I'm exiled and hunted by assassins. But I assure you, I remain undaunted and as determined as ever to claim my rightful throne.
I used to be a slave, kept under the thumb of the master, the bastard that made me hunt down my own kin. How did he do that, you ask? With the living scar you see on my cheek, this horror that takes no more than a song sung by Master Dearest to control my very thoughts. But now the tables have turned. I broke my shackles, and when I finally find him, I will make the Master sing a very different kind of song.
Oh, don't stare. How would you look after eons in some ghastly crypt? Your people are rather prone to death. Mine are not. Yet when I emerged from my completely unjustified imprisonment, I found them gone. Our culture forgotten. Any trace of the world I knew all but obliterated. I must even hide my true face beneath an ever-shifting mask for fear you savages will attack me. That is how I wander this strange world, trying to uncover the truth about a history you primitive people never even knew existed.
up over that sort of split towards outside as well. Didn't really work out for them in the USPs. Paying dividends there as we go into round number 2. No bomb was planted for mousesports, so we would assume it would be a force buy here. It is indeed, focusing on the Desert Eagles. A couple of CZs and Chris J with Tech 9. One smoke, a couple of flashbangs. I don't see this round really equating to too much, but we'll see whether they can find a few kills. Maybe a bomb plant. As they start to set up right now, it's going to be Sunny to take a nade to the face, but he's got a Deagle in hand, and that can do a lot of damage towards outside.
Trying to fire through the thin garage door, catch anyone off inside of Enix. Goes down above. His Deagle must make contact. His raid is twice, in fact. Both on the shoulder, I would guess. Not near the head. Not near enough, at least. So 26 HP left for Rain. Kerrigan to wait. Knowing the door has been open. The UMP in hand. Does have support inside of the site above as well with Nico. He's going to contest toward ramp found by Olaf. So Deagle's attempting to get long picks shut down early.
Yeah, you need that really early opening pick towards outside. If you get that first 1D, you get the snowball effect. 5 on 3 now. It really doesn't look it's going to be a successful round for mousesports at all. They'll go in towards upper together. Hopefully get a trade. 1-2 kills is about as good as it'll get at this stage. 45 seconds remaining. Kerrigan, you can hear them all coming in. Nico to spray them down. Easy does it. Bomb down. Chris J was the one flashing them into the roofs. And it'll be a clean sweep for FaZe. They certainly are the favorites here. And they put their best foot forward in the first couple of rounds. It should be a 3-0 coming up. The full eco for mousesports expected here. Maybe some PG-50s and an upper rush. Just get it over with, Matt. We'll see whether they can just find a kill or two. It hasn't really looked too good so far. 1 kill for Oscar, 1 for Chris J. FaZe don't really have to break a sweat here. They focus heavily on the rifles with 3 FAMASes, 1 M4, and the Kerrigan with the UMP. So they're in very good stead to get off to a great start here on Nuke. Upper rush, get in there.
Could be. Just get it over with. Keep all the default pistols. Kerrigan drops down. Nico's already ready. He's got a number to shoot up. Just want to get the bomb plant. The fact that they actually trade off of him is beneficial because Chris, I was going to say, is the one with the bomb to get below, but he's met by Guardian. 3-0 start. We get to guns. No bomb plants in any of those.
Yes.
Means they're just shy of what they would need for the AWP if they wanted to bring that out early.
Doesn't look like there'll be any sort of warp on the mousesports side. 5 AK-47s for them. Not a huge deal. You don't need AWP on any map in CS, especially not Nuke. 5 AK is absolutely fine. It's all about coordination, pincering from outside and focusing on the upper or lower bomb site. That's where you'll see most teams head towards at the very start, the point their wall of smokes, like you're seeing right now. They'll be thrown every single round, regardless if they're going to be using them or not, as in, they'll be pushing one player down there. Rain knows what's coming, can hear footsteps around him, and he's trying to be the saboteur here. Push through the smoke and potentially take someone down. There is a gap in that smoke map. It's not ideal for Guardian. We pointed out in the analysis section that he can use the nest position to try and find early picks.
This is such an awkward situation because Rain, by design, threw that smoke short side of Red Box to push up, and Guardian didn't have an angle to cover the gap, so they actually snuck a player by. And as Rain was just waiting for it to fall into his place, he actually had the timing, unfortunately, nothing to do with his fault, slightly off. He's traded out immediately, so only gets 1. And they give up Secret in doing it. This is okay for mousesports. I'm still in possession for Chris. Has gone back toward T-spawn. He'll wait for Sunny and Oscar to make space.
Problem is now, Map, we've got 1 flashbang, no smokes, nothing really on the T side. They've got a bit of map control towards Secret, but they haven't made their way fully towards Lies. The Oscar at the very front of the pack here, looking for any sort of picks. Luckily, they have got time on their side, but Nico, such a strong position here, looking for anyone going towards the decon room. It will be holding back and letting them get towards window.
Yeah, this is interesting. He's sitting all the way back, which means they're not expecting it. Oh, Oscar picks up Chris's tweet, takes down Nico pretty quick. He's gotten toward the vent as well, finds Kerrigan dropping in. The kill on Nico really opens up the map for them because Sunny's got Olaf. It's down to just Guardian. This round goes to mousesports inevitably at this point in time. Guardian does at least get Oscar back, but they'll know he's quite far away from the lower bomb site, so bomb to be planted. Oof. Chris just barely got down there, I will say.
That was with the bomb. If Guardian finds that kill, that was about to get very difficult for mousesports. But they should almost certainly win the round now. It's Oscar, as everyone's been saying. He is arguably the best player in mousesports, and he's getting up there in terms of notoriety in the CSGO scene. He's not just an AWP, he's very proficient in the rifles as well, as you just saw. Gets down towards lower, rails Nico, managed to get in the vent as well, and actually run away with the round single-handedly there. So 3 players surviving from mousesports. They post their first round on the board here. Guardian will save the AWP. There's plenty of money on the CT Forces though, so don't worry about that. They'll have a full gun round going to the next one. Technically a bonus round with the FAMASes and stuff. We'll have M4s going to the next round, and I'm sure Guardian will survive here. Maybe not though. Great shot from Rops.
definitely not going to get far enough forward to get the AWP, unfortunately, for Rops. But either way, they'll take it because they win the first gun round. They do it cleanly by getting everyone down on the FaZe side, so they won't be able to buy in quite as heavily. There is money left, obviously, coming out from 3 straight rounds, but I take it back because Olaf does just have enough to get the op and throw it to Guardian, so stronger than I would have expected.
Really wanted to save that AWP. Guardian looking all the way there towards the entrance of T-Spawn. Could have just hidden the corner right around there. He wouldn't have been taken down. Wanted to find a pick. And it will be 3-1. There's still a buy available. Not the best for the CT forces with that dropped AWP, but then Nade will take down the squeaky door now. Good nade though from the CTs. It's going to be Ropso to open things up. That's the orb going down.
Shot Oscar already to take over the stairs. Sunny's caught off Rain's angle, but I can't get the kill on him. Rain actually wins out against Sticko and manages to fall away. Took too much damage in the first exchange.
This is the tactic that they broke down on the deaths. The 2 smokes used outside, pushing towards the garage. Smoke on the catwalk, blocking all the vision for the AWPers, and it's up to Sunny to trade frags. They have the man advantage right now. Karrigan, NiKo, and Olof Meister positioned pretty far back. You see Olof there beneath the nest right now. Towards ramp 1 in the upper bomb side. So wants to play here from Mountsport. It's waiting for a mistake to be made for a CT to hunt for information. Olof Meister looks towards outside, but doesn't spot anything. He'll actually fall back and help out towards the ramp from here.
Oscar with some vent control to work with, and Olaf rotating down on the opposing side to the vent itself. It's all for naught, because if he rotates down and Oscar holds off and gets the information, they've gone back upper with the bomb, so good play so far from Mousesports on the T side. 2 consecutive bomb plants once they get the guns up and they hold the angles. They're definitely getting map control. To me, the most important thing still is to cause rotations and movement from the CTs on Nuke, and they're definitely getting that from them.
Yeah, great tactics, good smokes used every single time, and this going in with that brutal aim that Mousesports certainly have. 3-2 has to be an eco now for FaZe. I can see the pistols being purchased. Karrigan with CZ, Deagle for NiKo. It's very difficult to make these rounds really work on the CT side. We'll see whether they can maybe find a couple of kills here. Chris J reading the situation well. The in-game leader purchases the MAC-10. Knowing they won't have armor going into round number 6 here, he can mow them down, be thrown into a bomb site first, and look out for a stack. So we'll see whether he can open things up here, so look out for him. Oscar up towards the ramp from the AWP now. Can't find the first shot. Takes a lot of damage there, down to 37. Good player to inflict that. Wallbang attempt there towards the hut and squeaky door. But they'll just hold up right now. They'll try and get some basic map control. Ramp's a good position to go towards. As Chris J will deploy this smoke, like I said, throw him in first, see if there is a stack who can find the opening pick. If he does go down, it's not a massive problem. The MAC-10, pretty useless against armored opponents, and we see him go in now. They'll spot 1, but now they have got full control of the ramp room.
Chris almost baited into chasing, does get Olaf down. No one else directly in his path, at least toward the vents. They are pursuing the position of Chris, though, so control and decontamination occupied. Chris is well aware of the fact that they're looking for him. They'll continue on. You're right, MAC-10 certainly can do work, but Oscar's gone down to Karrigan. NiKo to follow with a kill onto Chris J, and it becomes interesting because even though they haven't picked up any weapons, aside from Rain, I guess, suppose on the MAC-10, if you want to call it that, without armor, they've certainly made these T's uncomfortable and forced them into the lower site where they're waiting. Crossfire's established, but Guardian can't do anything against Rocks. He'll be babysat while he plants the bomb. 16 HP. No one will be able to find the angle. Good kill from Sticko to get out Karrigan. Should be able to control this. It's just NiKo remaining, though. Low HP on 2. That Teagle becomes a menace.
Yeah, you say just NiKo, but he certainly can do some work with that upgraded pistol. A few kills coming in favor of FaZe, but overall quite comfortable for Mousesports. After going down 0-3, they find 3 rounds in a row and tie things up. No warp available for Guardian. This is definitely a difficult buy for FaZe Clan. They'll have M4s across the board. 4 players of our helmets, and that won't be a massive issue considering that MAC-10's gone away now. 1 defuse kit available on Karrigan, a lack of utility as Mousesports will start to dictate the pace of the game now. They can keep dropping those outside smokes and can start showing variations of that strategy. The same smokes can be used to go fast down secret instead of splitting towards upper bomb site. As they start to deploy them once again, wait out for the smoke towards catwalk. Oscar now with the AWP suggests they might slow things down. And you can see a complete different variation. Same smokes being used, the same player going towards outside, but the rest of his teammates towards lobby. This is a different tactic, probably going towards the ramp room and trying to get towards that lower bomb site now.
Yeah, if they can split from either side. Especially if they can force by getting the single player towards secret. Sunny, if he could force the... Oh, that nade, 7 HP. If he could force the second rotation off of ramp is essentially where I was going with this. It'll easily create space for ropz to try and sneak in. Guardian up close, though. Scared. Firing and nearly finding his teammate being chrisJ. It's Karrigan inside of the site. Stiko's rotated around others. They've gotten some control. Nico, rafters. They'll at least know that he's there, and Chris tries to trade off of it. Better position, apparently, for Nico as he looks down on the M4.
Well, the lower split has been foiled as FaZe can find a few kills there. Nico starting to step up with the M4A4. mousesports still have 40 seconds remaining. No smokes, though. They've got the Molotovs. They have to go forward as clean kills here as ropz faces towards the vent. You can see there's not shot out, but he knows there's going to be some sort of lower presence here from the CTs. It has to work out where.
Inching their way in. Quick check behind dark box, perhaps. Overlook it instead. I like to go directly to the plant, but that's where Olof's waiting. Check everywhere except the door where he is, and that's going to take the bomb down. 10 seconds for ropz. Good kill to Olof. Should allow the bomb plant. He's got to stick it. They're going to try and rush it down. 2 versus 1 and get on him as soon as it goes down. So they'll concede the plant. But they'll pick up the 4th round on the FaZe side.
They kept FaZe very modest there, though. The bomb going down gives mousesports an extra $800. They managed to get 3 kills in total. That was a very difficult situation. So well played to ropz to even get that plant in. Good use of the Molotov there. Denied olofmeister a chance to take him down. But Nico starting to get warmed up now, showing us what he's capable of with the M4A4. Finishes the round off as well with the AK-47. Nice stuff as FaZe final one back. Remember, though, that was an expensive round still. Losing 3 kills and only the first stage loss bonus now. They'll have to guarantee themselves to win this round. As you can see, investing every dollar they've got. Lose this is double eco territory. mousesports, they definitely have a full buy here. The all-powerful Oscar once again, 4 AKs and a full array of utility as well. I'm sure they'll go back towards those outside smokes, maybe just go with the classic version of it with Oscar picking outside first behind this red box. Up against Guardian. This will be an amazing matchup, let me tell you. 2 of the world's best AWPers going at it right now.
Rain in the garage, not willing to extend beyond and potentially give himself up to an angle that Oscar holds. Stiko's going to get above and make sure he's not pushed up to red this time either. All for position. Guardian to anchor at ramp with Olof playing from Speedway. Essentially in the rotation position because he'll be able to cover off outside should Rain need the help as well. Later and later, they still manage to get the smokes down and get towards Secret, but this time with a minute.
Attempting the lower split again, but Guardian changes up his position. He doesn't look like he's happy with one. Taking out chrisJ, he wants a second bite of the cherry here. Gets blind, and that's a good choice. Fall back, get a defensive position now. You've found the advantage. No reason to give up the AWP.
This could be a good answer to it, though, however, because if they continue to push to Speedway, ropz is in position. Olof's already rotated out, knowing that Sunny's gone by Rain. Problem is that ropz doesn't have anyone with him. They doubled down and perhaps Oscar pushed all the way through. They could have gone for a heaven take. They're relying on ropz to do this alone. He's gotten to the ladder. If he takes this, they're going to explode through hut. Karrigan has to be ready for it. He's looked away. Sunny's made movement. Sunny's made movement, and that gives ropz the answer.
Oh!
He's going in, and he's found Nico as well. That is so well done.
ropz just eviscerates 2 opponents at the top of the ladder, and that's going to be it. Round over. The positional control was just stellar there. Fantastic stuff from mousesports. Sneaking in beneath the ladder, they had no idea. Karrigan kind of sensed it, was looking for about 5 seconds. The moment he looks away, of course, ropz flies up there. They have no information. Look at this timing. Karrigan, just as he moves away, out he comes, 180 to find Nico in his classic position above the hut as well. That's beautiful stuff from ropz and a key round for mousesports. He's just completely disrupted the FaZe defense now. They've got no money, no weaponry to bring into round number 9. That's huge.
Nico's kryptonite as well. They mentioned it. Statistically, playing against mousesports, he's slightly less than what he normally achieves, so I think it was about a 5-point less rating in games against his former squad. Not that he played with all of these guys. Did play with Oscar temporarily in the first stint that he had in mousesports, but chrisJ certainly knows him well. He leads the way, however, this time, 11 kills. A timeout called, naturally. Of the gun rounds at this point, FaZe has 1, Mouse has 4.
Now bear in mind, this is a CT-sided map, and mousesports losing the pistol to tie things up a 4-4, forcing FaZe into a potential double eco situation here. This is very promising now for the T side. They have come here to play today. It's all going to plan. The tactics are looking on point, the fragging's there, They're going up against FaZe, arguably the world's best team as olofmeister pushes towards ramp. He manages to be taken down. Oscar with 2 kills there. This completely opens up the round with the AWP there.
Most kills in the event so far for Oscar. They have played more games than some of their opposition.
Went the full distance in the round of 16.
Chris will work in. Guardian again wants to play slightly closer. Smoke off the headshot position, but still the railing exists. Goes for it. The smoke on one angle. Rops knows exactly where the other one is, so pre-aims and puts down Guardian quickly. Just NiKo and Rain, and we're about to go into a situation where Mousesports takes the lead. They've done so well, tactically, methodically, taking over map control. Anticipating the CT's movements time and time again. They'll get the bomb plant down, just NiKo remaining.
Nothing he can do with this one, I'm afraid. He's got the body armor and the Desert Eagle. He'll be lucky if he finds 1 kill here. Spots Sunny. Can't quite find the shot though. A clean sweep for Mousesports. As I mentioned, it's a probable double eco here for FaZe, so they won't be buying up into this round, I don't think. They'll be bringing PD50's CZs once again, so another free run for Mousesports here. It was Oscar to find 2 kills towards the lobby at the very start. Very confident stuff. Have a look at the scoreboard while we're here. There's NiKo. You'd assume he's near the top. He is indeed. 11 kills, 6 deaths. Second place, Rain, 8 for 7. The bottom is Karrigan, 1 and 7. Top for Mousesports, Rops, of course, with the plays he's been making. That's no surprise. 10 for 4. Sunny, 8. Oscar, 6. Those are the players you want at the very top of the scoreboard, Matt. That's how it should be operating. Looking very good for Mousesports so far.
Karrigan's the second player playing upstairs as well with NiKo, by the way, so interesting to note. One's been having a great success and one's been struggling, and they've certainly lost the sight a few times. Oscar turning around, realizing that they were rushing out from radio room, does get caught off. Couldn't hit the op shot, but it won't matter. It's all for naught. Just pistols. Bomb already down. Olof 1 versus 4. Trying to do the best he can to force some reinvestment, force some guns down, maybe even pick one up for his own sake. Best case scenario at this point in time. There's the flames bursting as a way to mask his sound. Try and sneak in. You know, NiKo's still up close. Reload done though, so he can't capitalize on that. Hear the op up close too though. If he can bait a shot from it, it'd be lovely to try and get the op. He's going to go ahead and get an AK instead.
That's not too bad, considering it was pretty much a full eco there. FaZe pushing towards the lobby area. They find 1 kill in the form of Oscar. And luckily, they can't find the AWP, but they do manage to find an AK-47. You can't buy that on the CT side, so that still is beneficial. Players towards the ramp room should be using that. It means it's an angle you can hold on those hand railings and try and find the 1-bullet headshots there. And that's what we're looking for, and I'm sure it will be thrown over to a player like that.
You could actually tell there was some hints in what Olof was trying to do. He actually wasn't looking for kills at all because he checked to see if Squeaky was open. That way he knew if someone was pushing him to get the sound cue, and then just focused on what was going on with the clicking scope inside of HUD. He simply just wanted to sneak in and try and get the gun. They knew it went down in that position. So he does achieve that.
So indeed, olofmeister playing the ramp room with the AK-47. Perfect. He'll be joined by Rain at the very start. But Oscar! Oh, no. He misses a sitter there. He rushes out the hut. And back and forth frags come in. I will give the advantage towards Mousesports as Sunny chimes in as well, taking down the orb. That was a guaranteed kill for Oscar, but it might not matter. olofmeister rotating in. The bomb is planted. This is so chaotic. You don't see this too often on Nuke. And leaving Sunny in a 2 versus 1. But both CD players are very low HP indeed.
Doable for Sunny. Nades toward Hut preemptively. They don't know that he's there. He's going to try and sneak in. Didn't spot Olof on the edge of the smokes. Will this time. It's tagged to 41, or excuse me, to 66, but Rain's on 41, so he can actually still do this. He's tapped the bomb. He doesn't quite have the angle for the plant. Window becomes a possibility. Rain reads that. So does Sunny, just in the nick of time. He's just got to play exactly that.
Kits.
10 seconds. Sunny doesn't know that he's still on it. Rain gets off it thinking that he's going to be peeking, goes back in, and Sunny's got him down. And call it recovery because Oscar went in so aggressively with the op, but I'm still not sure how he missed.
It looked like he was dead on him. For his sort of standards, you'd expect that would be at a deadlock, but they still win the round. No harm, no foul, Matt. If they lose that round, he'd probably have a bit of a red face, but overall, an aggressive push out of the AWP can catch players off guard. In he goes, finds the opening kill, or lack thereof, that his teammates get the trades, and it comes down to a 2 versus 1. Sunny there, cool as you like. Manages to find the first low HP player, and you can see what a nightmare that was for Rain. Trying to fake out the bomb with the fake defusers there, but overall, no kid. That was always going to be such a nightmare. Sunny did not take the bait, and it will be 7-4 and another eco here for FaZe. We'll call this one a partial buy with the Scout, the CZ. There's a bit of body armor there, no nades, but this is looking very, very promising for Mousesports now.
Yep.
This is what they need to win this map. Winning out some big clutches like that, trading out frags effectively, sticking to their game plan with those defaults of the smokes outside, the variations, the fakes, the pincer plays. It's all coming in together quite nicely, I have to say.
Yeah, beautiful trades upper as well. Oscar may not go so fast this time.
It's the same play with Chris J in the MAC-10. So they'll try and choose the area they want to control. It could be the same smokes towards outside, get the MAC-10 down there. Could go back towards ramp like they did before, throw Chris J in with a flashbang, but he has got Olofmeister waiting for him with the scout. Now, it's not as powerful as the AWP. It does require a headshot for a one-shot kill. And in this sort of angle, he might get the chance to show us of his capabilities as his teammate starts to push in.
Good shot out from Rain. Gets... Oh, he might get away from it. Just thought he was past the edge of the doorway, but the angle still existed, and Sunny just trades it back. Doesn't exactly do it at no cost, though. He's down to 29. Olaf's thinking he might get a chance at that. A sniff with a close angle. Oscar also was close. Looks to the back box. That's going to give Olaf easy shot on him. Pulls the scout. And if they pursue, they could have problems. Nade's going to go through. Olaf gets forward. Another tag. He's single-handedly pulling it because he's got Sunny as well. And look at the amount of damage he's inflicted. Just Sticko and Rops remain.
It was brilliant from Olofmeister. You'd think he'd fall back there, but he knows he has to work hard, find a few more tags, and he's done significant damage to mousesports now. 3-on-2. Rops 27 HP. Sticko just beneath 60. They have got 30 seconds. Time ticking away, though. I think CTs might have done this, you know. Back
toward the upper site instead. The Eagles certainly sufficient against the HP. Nico, as you said, the only spot it seems to know. Sticko as well, low HP. Rops goes down, just Sticko, 18 HP, 7 seconds, and he's tripping over the edge of the site. You used to be able to plant up there. They're going to deny that altogether.
A bit of a lifeline now for FaZe. It's Olofmeister that finds it. The scout in hand, so much damage inflicted. I have to say, this is where we're starting to see some sloppy plays from mousesports there. The fact Oscar's going towards the ramp room and no trade potential there, this is a nightmare. So Olofmeister, sure, he might get this frag, but where is the backup? Why are they letting that AWP go down with no one there to trade the frag whatsoever? You've got time. You don't have to have 3 people watching the lobby. The fact that Oscar can go down about an instant trade is a real misplay there from mousesports, I have to say. But going into round number 13, still plenty of money available on either side. FaZe Clan just winning. And Eco, of course, it's going to be Oscar going for the aggressive pick once again. He pushes through the flames. Can he hit the shot this time? Yes, he can! As his teammate steps up with him. It's going to be a clean sweep towards the upper bomb site. Just Guardian, who can't do anything about this, but maybe he can as he looks towards main entrance. Finds Rops, but finding himself in a 3 versus 1 now.
You got to love the confidence to go for that play again as well with an AWP through Hut. He nearly found Guardian right away as well because there was still 3 upper. He didn't realize it. He looked away too soon when the second one was called as down. He's trying to get away at this point, just buy himself some space. Shoulder bait because they're trying as well. Spotted on the mini-map. The sneaky player underneath. The fact that he's isolated this down to Sticko inside of the site. Not gonna matter. His best efforts were to try and get to Hut at that point in time. 8-5, and mousesports, we talked about Gambit's T-side. This is equally as good.
Yeah, excellent work. Nice change of pace there. They're dictating where this game is going. They've got the defaults, the fakes, the upper rushes, and as soon as Oscar has that spawn, you know he's taking it. Pushing through the flames like a raging bull and finding the first shot. Didn't do it the first time around, but he certainly nailed that one. And it is going to be, I think, a full force buy from FaZe. Yeah, they started need to post some rounds here. So CZ, they do have the AWP on Guardian, of course, saved in the previous round, and the M4 of Nico. So we'll see whether Oscar can find the first pick once again. Rob certainly can, takes down Nico. There's the M4 they had, that needs to be recovered. 5-on-4, Rob's down to 12 HP.
Shot from Guardian, slow peek. He had the op carried over, or excuse me, wouldn't have expected it at all, excuse me, because that was bought up. He went down last round, so catches them off. That certainly does. Good shot toward Oscar. Getting desperate when you buy in a single op, but Guardian up to the task. Olaf can do it with a scout. He thinks he can certainly do it with the AWP. Oh, I think he did. Okay. I was going to say, I think he just spotted the edge of him. He's just a bit slow to react. Down to 8 HP. That's going to put a lot of pressure on him to hit the shot. Chris takes care of it. Bumps on 12. Molotov means that Olaf won't be able to get an angle as they walk to upper. Rain has picked up an AK. Chris has no idea that he's there, and he's got this absolutely! As Rain gets 3, Rops had no fight left with low HP. So a tactical buy of the op, shall we say, for Guardian.
Absolutely. Pays off, doesn't it? Finds 2 great kills there. Damage inflicted across the board, and Rain finally showing us that he is turning up to this quarterfinal as well. FaZe Clan find another lifeline there. Remember, they've won 2 ecos now. One with the CZs and the Scout, now one with the AWP and the same lesser weaponry. So well played to FaZe to keep the dream alive. It was looking pretty grim at one point. They find enough to have weaponry here for round number 15, the last round of the first half. Rain with the AK-47. We talked about that play, having the more aggression with the CT side when you pick up the AK. There will be a chance now to take down mousesports, going back to that outside execution once again with the smoked. 4 players head towards that area. It's just Rops who holds the lobby right now.
Interesting efforts by Rain to put a Molotov down, to slow them after they put the smoke out. Haven't seen anyone go for the denial Molotov in a long time. Shox did that a few times, like a couple people have.
Yeah.
You get it outside early, so it immediately ruins the bounce of the smoke. Nico's gonna play dark. That gives them a chance in this as well, because immediately after the plant, Chris has to go right or left. Only 2 ways he can go. It's it wrong. Anticipating. Doesn't get the kill. Brought low, however. Strengthen the retake. That won't. Sunny getting Rain down immediately. Brings us level, and Kerrigan forced out by a Molotov, buys a lot of space. On top of it, Sunny, he's found Nico and Olof, who goes back in. Kerrigan knows he has to go. He jumps through the hot flames. And unfortunately, there's not further. Oh, I take it back against one. I was just saying, there's not much further to go. He does still get taken down. 9-6 mousesports. 1 gun round for FaZe, and that was a defusal. That's how dominant this half really was for mousesports.
Yeah, absolutely. They win the pistol and get the 3-0 in favor of FaZe, but overall, that